Hey everybody, it's Andy here, aka Montolio, and we are back for round two of Vintage League. We are playing Bug and played Michelino last week sometime. I believe they were on four color Tinker slash Breach, something like that. So all of that said, let's get in here. We've won the die roll. Um, how do I feel about this hand? This hand is very loose, have no doubt. But I've got some answers to Urza Saga here. I could Demonic Tutor potentially for a tool if I need it. Um, I am going to brainstorm here main phase. This is not recommended to do at home, kids, to brainstorm main phase, but I'm going to take a look. I'd like to sculpt a little bit more information. My opponent had the mental misstep. And I mean, that shows weakness to some extent when you're brainstorming like that. So, okay, probably just going to play a Saga and pass. And we're kind of unfortunately penciled in to wastelanding if they do. I don't even know what I'm after here, but I feel like I need to use my turn for something, and wastelanding is not ideal. Just a flusterstorm. Okay. I mean, where this is a dangerous line is if my opponent just untaps and tinkers. They don't know what I have in my hand, though. Boy, would Collector Roof look nice if I could cast it. Okay. Love a green source. Okay, well, that's a really nice one. Hmm. Part of me wants to double waste them. I'm gonna do that. I am gonna double waste them. The reason I'm going after the volcanic here is because of the presence of pyroblast, and this ancestral recall is looking quite important in this particular situation. So I'm gonna move to my second main here, and hopefully we can get into some action, aka this resolving and finding some good cards. Okay, so they have Force of Will here. So the bad news is we lost our ancestral and we were very aggressive with our wastelands. Hopefully that does not come back to punish us. The good news is that we got the Force of Wills out of their hand. They have just cycled a Time Walk. And I think what our main line here is we're looking for a Black Lotus or a green source. And then after this, we have the potential of getting an Oko into play. And Oko can change the face of a game fairly quickly here. So despite this isn't optimal, we are presenting a clock. My opponent's deck is far more dangerous than mine in this type of a situation. Hopefully this is not a dig through time, just a thinning of the deck. Oh no, Tinker. Okay, so we're pretty much dead. I think they're likely just to get at 16 life, probably a Citadel, and just win from there. Um, I would venture to say that Citadel is better than a Sphinx here, though, because the only answer we have to Sphinx in our deck is Brazen Borrower. My opponent just has no respect for the Force here. So they got a Sphinx. Unfortunately, we've lost our Demonic, but Maybe we can find an answer here. Trophy will not do it. Hmm. Okay, well, we're in quite a bit of trouble here. But we do have outs to this. A lot of bug decks do not have outs to a Sphinx of the Steel, and we run Brazen Borrower. So Brazen Borrower or land? Okay. This has the option of gaining us some life to buy us time to find a borrower, perhaps. I just expect my opponent to attack right into us versus the Oko, but maybe they're having fun and they will fool around here, which is not advisable. My opponent should be going for a kill here. Yeah, good for them. That is the correct line. They know we can't get in here. Um, I do think I'm just going to gain the life here because there's an opportunity for me to be able to take an extra Sphinx hit if I just create food tokens. So that is something. Let's draw a borrower, guys. That does not help because that does not block this. But what I can do here is, I guess, going down to one. If I draw a land next turn, because I really would like to take their graveyard away from them. One of the ways that I stand zero chance. So I guess it's getting it potentially an extra turn versus finding a land next turn. I have a reasonable chance of finding a land next turn. Just going to cast it now. Throw all this stuff back on top of their library to take that option away from like a Yogg will. Like it's the deterministic kill versus taking a gamble to try and find another land next turn. Like they have Dig Through Time, Treasure Cruise, and Yogg will in their deck, all of which are one ofs. But if they find them, I'm just 100% dead. Versus buying myself one more attack where I'm already very likely dead. I don't know. It's an interesting dilemma. I shrunk my Tarmogoyf, but that's inconsequential at this point in time. Bolt does me in as well, but I'm not playing around Bolt. Bolt just gets me no matter what I do. Okay, Brazen Borrower or land, please. Monitor. Okay. So just going for a Bolt here. Well, we got a 1 in 46 chance of peeling Brazen Borrower off the top. And we have a much higher percentage of finding a land. My opponent's having a really good long tank about this demonic tutor when they're in this very strong position here, but um, I mean, I don't know what's in their hand, but if it's a blue card, I mean, it seems like a no-brainer for me to go and get a Force of Will to ensure their victory. Okay. Aha! We got one. Oh no, it doesn't work because we go down. We go down one. All right, so we didn't get there. That's all right. We did find a land. I didn't specify. We got a fetch land instead of that land. I could see us maybe wanting a cage in this situation. Perhaps a trap. Tarmogoyf is reasonable here. I typically like the thing about these decks, these four color decks and these Grixis decks and such, is that eh, they're not all in one strategy. They're kind of like mid-range decks. They're not going to have require four Force of Vigors um, to combat them typically. I think I want the extra endurance here. Maybe I just like this more than Vigor. Actually, that just can't be right because of the presence of maybe Trophy just is not up to snuff here for this matchup. I like to have some trophies here. We could bring in Toxic Deluge, but it is another way to combat a Sphinx, I guess. Something we can think about for the later rounds here if need be. What do I think of this one? I think this is fine. It's a little bit soft, but I am going to preordain here or ponder. I think finding the land versus not finding the land is more important. Like I could shuffle that. I'm obviously interested in a green source here, but so they played a fetch, and then that will potentially turn on our Deathrite Shaman. Okay, might be nice here because we have Flusterstorm up, and next turn we're hopefully going to be able to cast a Collector Roof. It doesn't look like my opponent is biting here, and because they're not biting, unfortunately we have to sit back here. Hmm, what does this mean? An Abrade. I don't think we have the luxury of letting that resolve. I could Assassin's Trophy their Volcanic here. The problem with, I guess it's probably fine. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'm just going to be proactive here and take them. Potentially their red is in trouble. This is no doubt going to get them a basic, but I guess there's no guarantees. Not all decks are able to run basics. They just got Fluster. I was gonna say that would be weird that they didn't Fluster back on the Abrade. I mean, I could have paid for two of them, but I don't know. So let's see basic check. They did find a basic, and of course it's a basic mountain, which is a little bit surprising. So I think they're probably just going to go and find a bolt here, or I guess an ancestral is another thing they could do. A bolt feels kind of like a bad deal for them. Oh, they're just going for Lotus. Interesting. Okay. What does that mean? Oh, I see. Okay. So they obviously have the blue card. Just drawing, having a brain cramp here. Yep. So they got brain freeze. Okay. Well, looks like we're dead here. We can pack it in from there. A little bit of a disappointing match, but remember, hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you for round